then just ahead, we're going to be entering towards Gros Morne Park. You can start seeing the bluffs already. This is truly the wild coast of Newfoundland. You cannot rush this stretch. There's so many potholes. You take your life in your hands if you go through them. It's just so staggeringly beautiful. I forgot to mention that wind gusts are very, very tough to drive in. My van is constantly going back and forth in the wind. I have to be totally alert. So be careful. Never drive at night. And take your time. You can't rush this stretch of highway because it is so beautiful. Well, there's something magical about lying in bed in my van and looking at this view. I decided to stop in Rocky Harbour. It was a 4-hour drive from St. Anthony in 50-kilometer winds. And I've heard stories of semi-trucks getting blown over when they are empty. So it was no fun. So if you recall, I stopped here, I can't remember when, it seems like a year ago, here in Rocky Harbour, in Gros Morne Park, where I met Shannon, and we had lobster feast. And I parked overnight here and then went on to Port Saunders. So I decided, you know what, it's 2 p.m. It was an exhausting drive. Plus last night, some trucker had his generator going on and off all night. He was a block away at a hotel, and so we had this lovely silent night, except this trucker whose motor, the generator, sounded all night through the neighborhood. So I did not get a good sleep, and plus I was still coughing a lot. So after the drive today, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to relax here in Rocky Harbour at my private beachfront. Well, this is such a magical morning. I'm still in Rocky Harbour, and it is so glorious not to have any wind. It is exhausting to have that wind. It was 50-kilometer winds all day yesterday and last night, and cold. Today is the first time I felt warm for a while. And I'm sitting here and just absorbing the atmosphere, the rocky shoreline, the Table Mountains, in the background, Gros Morne. I'm in Gros Morne. And then in the distance, all the little hills. Sorry, all the little cottages and houses perched along the shoreline there. The call of the seagulls. The tide is coming in. It's just one of those magical moments where you don't want to leave. I had my first uninterrupted sleep for 4 nights. I finally didn't cough in the middle of the night. I just had a wonderful sleep here at the visitor center, and no one bothered me, and it was perfectly quiet. Hardly, one car in the middle of the night going by that I heard. No problems staying there, and this morning I woke up and I thought, oh, this is just wonderful. So I cleaned out my van and washed my hair in the sink in the washroom. It was just warm water, already heated, so I don't have to heat any water at all. So the basic luxuries of life. I mean, I do have a shower thing in my van and I've used it, but I didn't feel like dealing with it. It was just so much easier just to go into the bathroom here and wash my hair in the sink. Those of you who are van lifers understand. So I'm gonna make myself a lovely breakfast and just enjoy the ambiance. It's the first time I've just been able to relax right by the waterside since Nova Scotia. It's always been too cold and too windy here in Newfoundland just to sit and enjoy and feel this. Let's take a last look here. This is when van life is not so glorious. It's Thursday morning. I drove all yesterday for 7 hours across the island of Newfoundland from Rocky Harbour to here, camped in a parking lot in A&W, 1 hour away from St. John's. Check out the deep puddles. Everywhere on the island is having a rain event. And I decided, you know what? I'm just staying here until this blows over. Asked A&W if I could park here, and they said yes. There's lots of truckers that stop here over the night. I decided to sleep in because I'm still sick, and now that's really helped me feel better. So luckily I have enough water, I have food, and I can always go to A&W for anything I need. I'm going to wait until the rain lets up. Supposedly it's going to stop in the afternoon of today. So I don't mind being parked here. I do not want to drive in this rain. It's brutal. Plus there are moose on the highway, so you've got to be very, very alert. So I'm doing okay actually sitting here. The good news is I got a ferry booking. I decided to leave the island early. And I realized that taking the overnight ferry, even though it is more expensive, it's actually going to be cheaper to take the overnight ferry from this part of the island than driving all the way back. The cost of gas is so bad that it's cheaper for me to take the more expensive ferry. So I'm leaving on in 10 days, which is wonderful. And the ferry takes 12 to 14 hours. I sleep overnight on the ferry in some chairs. I don't care. And I arrive the next day. So that's really good news. I am ready to leave the island. I've done what I needed to do. I will be exploring the St. John's area, this part of the island, and hopefully the weather will let me do that. So I'm really pleased with the fact that I don't have to drive all the way back across the island, especially if the weather stayed like this. It would have been silly to try to get back to Port au Basque to take the daytime ferry which is only 6 hours. But it would have meant 2 or 3 days of travel back across the island, and I'm just not prepared to do that. And now with the cost of gas, it's no longer a reasonable option anyway. Look at that rain. I'm just going to sit here and read a book, and luckily I am getting internet parked here in the far corner from A&W, so I'm a happy camper. Last night I binge watched some of my favorite shows that I can access from my PVR recordings at my home PVR. Shaw lets me do that, so I had great fun, and actually it was a cozy evening. So I'm feeling much better, and now I'm just going to read a book. Talk to you later. Well, I thought I'd better show my face to let you know I'm still alive. I feel so much better. I slept in the parking lot at the A&W last night and basically stayed in bed from 5 p.m. till noon today, and just slept and read and rested and watched some TV on the internet. So it was really reassuring to have some comforts of home. And then I thought, okay, I'm ready to go. The rain has lifted. And so I went into the A&W bathroom, and I'm getting really good at washing my hair in the sink really quickly because my hair is short. Felt wonderful. So I thought, okay, I'm brave enough to start driving towards St. John's. So guess what? 1 minute away down the road, the highway, is the visitor center. I had no idea I was that close to a visitor center. I just felt like I was in the middle of the nowhere because of the pouring rain, and I couldn't tell where I was. So I got some information about St. John's, and now I am at the Walmart Supercenter. Thank goodness it's outside of St. John's by 10 minutes, and I'm going to be camping here for the night.